Hey, good Saturday afternoon. It's February 3rd, 2024. Arms of Orion Composite Operator Trading Systems. We're looking at oil today. I'm going to try not make this too long, but we're going to kind of go over a few things here for, the case for potential upside or downside. We're in a really kind of not weird area, but, we're facing a lot of headline risk right now, and we got some technical levels we're sitting at. So it's kind of hard to, if I had to say anything at the moment going into this week, I'd say I'm kind of at a neutral level to maybe downside. But we did just have, a really big push up, and then we had a big push down. So let me get rid of this fib for a second here. So if we look at this, if we take it from this pivot point here, we had the 786 retrace coming into Friday. Those are big levels. We stopped right at it. So I'll put that other fib on when we talk about upside potentiality, depending on what happens here this week. But I think we're in an environment right now of, like I said, headline risk. So it's hard to kind of really pinpoint, when we look, we're going to talk some technical stuff here, but, it's hard to say. It's so hard to say. I know the Saudis don't like oil down at this level. That's for sure. Chinese probably like it down at this level, but Chinese demand is slowing. Just globally, demand is slowing. But you can see we're right kind of at a level here. If you look left, you can see where it kind of trades in these little clusters. Clusters. And we're kind of right back at that level. And, I'm involved in quite a few different Discords, chats, and, some other stuff I'm doing out there, so I forget where I post some of my stuff. Sometimes I don't post it everywhere. Sometimes I'm posting it all over. But I did post these levels on Friday and Thursday. I was posting levels all the way down through here. And one of the big things I talked about coming into Tuesday and Wednesday was this head and shoulders pattern here. Some people poo-pooed it. It's not, they don't always turn out the best. They can be wonky, especially on, certain time frames and stuff. But, here's what I was kind of looking at. And you could say, honestly, let's get rid of that. And you have like this kind of weirdness through here too. But I was just looking, this formation was just, like, I just kept staring at this. And that wouldn't be correct because we did have this, like, this was the shoulder. But you kind of get what I'm seeing there. And a lot of people, the beauty of the markets is we can all look at things differently, right? And we can all take action on things we see or, oh, I didn't see that. Some people are like, well, that, So if we drew it out, you could draw it something like that, right? And then we get this poof, this huge push to the downside. And that's what I was kind of like looking at. I was looking at it combined with my linear regression channel topping. If you don't know about linear regression channels, you should really learn about them and maybe think about integrating them. They're a bedrock of my trading on all time frames, and like all my strategies have them. I'm always looking at them. They're amazing. And this one here, I like to use the doubles. Sometimes I just have a singular on, but I like the doubles. Sometimes in my scalp strategies, I'll even have 3 of them on. But they move in real time. Like every candle that forms, it either moves up or down or it adjusts in real time. It's awesome. So this big one here is a 233. This smaller one here, I mean, it's not in size. I'm talking length, like because you can extend the lengths forward. This one's a 100 look back. This one is a 233 look back based off of Fibonacci numbers. And like that's what I was looking at. We had this uptrend coming up. This is just another little, this green line here is a channel I just drew inside of the linear regression channels. If I put another one on, you'd probably see one that came up in this time frame would be much smaller. In real time, it would be here. Right now, it's probably pointing down. But I can do a whole video on linear regression channels if that's something someone wants to learn about. I'll definitely be up for making a video on them and how you can trade them, and what we look for in them. But you can just see we were at that time we were poking outside of both linear regression channels up there. You know, I got this trend line drawn. It's already in place, and I'm seeing this happen. And when I see this breach is when I was like, okay, boom, and it was on, and we got that downside push, flag, downside push, flag into these levels. And again, I was talking levels through this whole, push down. And then these were some levels I had talked about, I think, into Friday. And sure enough, they came down into them. I had this one here too. I don't know where it went. I mean, I deleted it, but there's a level, and that you see it's flagging right at the level. So just a beautiful push. The push and then the push, and this push happened really fast. Again, headline risk was probably doing most of the heavy work there. And you got a lot of really crazy intraday, like boner candles out of nowhere that probably just destroyed people. So, I did take some really big long trades. I had a 103 tick trade on Thursday or Friday. I'd have to go back and look. I think it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday in the London session coming into the New York. Had a 103 tick downside move that was just beautiful. I'm not going to put it on. I'm not going to open my 3-minute and lower time frame charts with my red line, gold line setups, but that's something we, depending on where you're at and what chat rooms you're in, you hear me talk about that stuff all the time. But you can just see here we come down. We got bearish too. All the oscillators were performing like they should. We got the zero line cross on the MACD and the big push. We got this big trend line here. Like this is kind of off. I think I drew this on a different time frame, but you can just see here. We got the push down right here. Once this thing crossed over, and we're getting a zero line cross. That was that was like, look at the move you got on that. So you've got to really be paying attention every day to your top-down analysis from your daily down through your, I love the 2-hour chart. Big fan of the 2-hour, 15-minute, even the 7-minute. As my top-down analysis kind of goes daily, 2-hour, 15-minute, 7-minute, and then like the 7-minute and below are kind of like my main charts I'm looking at. And depending on how I'm trading, if I'm if I'm in ultra scalp mode, depending on what happens during the day, like on Friday, we went into that sideways kind of wedging range. That's where you can hop into your 15-second and just, go crazy with the scalping. So, anyways, I'm kind of diverging here about oil. Again, we got the headline risk. When you have the headline risk, it's hard to say where we're going to go from here. But, I had these levels called out. They were posted in a lot of places. We had this big downtrending trend line here all the way back from the September highs. September 20-something or other, 7th or 8th. And this thing came down, and we broke through that with some pretty good authority. And we started making that move, but we just couldn't get through these levels over here. We got levels sitting over here. Too big. We got a level there. This trading view circle tool sucks. Then we got we got two, double peaks there. And I was really confident that we were going to find resistance up here. That's what this red line represents here. This 80-41 level kind of is off this peak here, and these levels right through here. If that makes sense, you get those levels there, you get a level there, and then you come into here, and you come into here. You're going to find resistance up in this level. And we didn't quite get up into that 80 level, and we started pushing back down. let me zoom back in here. And, so moving forward into this week, like I said, I'm probably kind of at a neutral point because technically we could bounce from here. We're sitting here, we're flagging again. We flagged into that wedge all afternoon after this big downturn. We had one push up right here into the 618. Awesome golden pocket retrace. I didn't think we would go that high, but we ended up going that high. And then we came back down. I ended up having, even after that 103 tick morning on a single trade, I ended up, trading through a good chunk of this through here and got some good trades. But you can see, we're just, same thing. We're flagging right now. But we got, depending on how you want to look at this, depending on how I think that's how I lost my line before, level before. You got 1, 2, 3, or you got, do we have a 1, 2, 3? There's different ways to look at it. I love looking at the 1, 2, 3 moves in the markets. You can get more. We did get, like, you could look at this as a 1, 2 sideways reset, 1, 2. Again, price action, people are going to argue with you. Everyone's got their opinion. You know what they say about opinions. It's just a matter of how you're looking at things and how you're going to trade them and what your reactions are going to be. There's so many ways to skin the cat in this industry. It's awesome. And everyone's got opinions about what's going to happen and what, how much shit I caught about this head and shoulders pattern right here. It's not a shoulder. It just didn't come up. Okay, well, they're not always perfect. Here it came, and look what the result was. It's just how I interpreted it, how I looked at it. And I was right. So, again, coming in, I feel a little neutral. This is all very bearish coming down like this. We have the fast-moving RS, or the fast-moving MACD, with the signal line trading below the zero line. We are bouncing a little bit, so we'll have to see. We got the RSI very oversold, but that can continue to stay oversold. However, we're sitting at the levels. Here's my downside. Here are my downside targets. I'm not going to go over these trend lines for right now, but you have the intermediate upward sloping trend line. You got this one from way back. This one I drew from some of this wonkiness back here, and I don't even know if this is real over here. It's gotta be, but it could be an anomaly. But, if it comes down to these levels, you could pop it there, right? So that's kind of like, okay, we got this trend line we're working off of. We got this level here. And then we have these levels that it could come down here. We got this trend line here. And then we have this low from December 13th. All of these are targets if this thing wants to come down. That's what I'd be targeting. And when you, so if this breaks, I'd like to see it. We already broke this level and got a retest and a bounce. But I want to see this level get broken. If it comes down through here, there's not much holding it. You got a level here maybe, and a level here. So there are some there are some little levels through here. But if you're looking for like a major pivot bounce turn level, there it is. And you've got all kinds of little intradays that you can pick out through here and play off of. This isn't what that video is about, but, they're definitely there. And then you have, so here would be the first, second, then you got the trend line, then you have the December 13th bottom, right? And then from here, I would just, the way I would play this is just take my fibs from this local top we just had, and there's my fib level. If this is a bottom, high probability, 75% chance that it comes and touches that 236. And then the chances, this is probably like a 65% chance. Obviously, this is like this is the 50% retrace, so probably a 50% chance that we do come up to retrace into the 5-0. And then we have the golden pocket. Stuff loves the golden pocket retrace. Will it do that, or do we need more downside to get, right here? I mean, we have the 786. I already showed you that. We're at the 786 from here. I'll show it to you again. Right? We're at the 786 from this pivot low. Again, someone argue, people love to argue about where to pull stuff. But, you had a big up, then you had a down. Then you had kind of a, mediocre, rangy trash, and then you have this one pushed down. So that's where I'm drawing it from. You can come back and draw from here and look at different levels. You could have all kinds of different levels based off of that. And some of them would probably be valid. But if we're looking at like this downturn now, the argument for a hold, I can definitely see it right here. But I can also see the argument for this thing coming down here. And all I would keep doing, if this thing flags into Sunday, and Sunday starts into that London, Asian, and then into the London session, we're gonna probably see pretty quickly, or maybe it doesn't happen until the Friday session. But I would be kind of glued to the news Sunday evening into, I'm up 4 a.m. Central Time, sometimes earlier, checking stuff out. And then I start my trading from there sometimes. Sometimes it's always not at London Open. Sometimes it's at 4, like I said, 4 or 5. Maybe I'll start trading depending on what's happening. So it just, but I'm generally up at that time perusing the news for at least a half hour, 45 minutes, and then I'm back to sleep, if that's what I want to do. But, if this is the bottom, we see our clear, I would be looking at my FIBs as my clear targets upward, and you can find all your, upward targets again. This one's a big one here, 76.27, if it wants to come back up, because we have that pivot from over here. Levels, baby. Levels. Doesn't matter if it's NQES, gold, gasoline. Like, you can trade gasoline, Bitcoin, ETH, any of the future stuff. You want to use these levels, and they're very levels in anything really are absolutely imperative to start understanding and playing off the levels and trading in between the levels. So again, I guess the big takeaways is I feel that we're at market neutral. We could go either way right here, and you play your strategy to either way. And especially now, you got to be very, be very, very, very careful in oil. We have headline risk, and you saw this past week, if you were paying attention, you saw some of those weird candles that just came out of nowhere. And if you're on the wrong side of the market in that time, it could be a punch. So just be nimble, be very quick. If you get into longer trades and they're working for you, make sure your stops are there. Make sure you're trailing your stops. Make sure you're doing all those things you need to be doing and really paying attention. And if we get into these sideways markets and these ranges, if that's not what you like, stay out of the chop and just wait, because that's all we're doing is here. We're ranging and then we're trending. Ranging, trending. That's all the market does. So, the one thing that we also want to kind of pay attention to is, we'll go look at the daily here quick. Let me get rid of some of this. Let me get rid of the fibs at the moment. We got the three black crows. And you get when they're going up, they're the 3 white soldiers. But you are getting some, we're getting awfully close to this 50 line here on this RSI. This has already been breached. This RSI, this fast moving MACD, and this one never even came up to get bullish and come over the 0 line. So, You know, like I said, I am neutral, but you got the targets. You see the targets to the downside if this thing wants to keep going and break this trend line here. It's just a little kind of a wild area here because there's kind of a case for both sides, right? Let's just fib this out just for shits. 618 retrace. From, if we're looking here, I mean, most people would be like, you don't want to pull it like that. But, you know, if we pull it from there, we're looking at a 618 retrace already. We pulled it from those other levels, and it's sitting at a 786. So we're down at levels where there's potentiality for bouncing, right? That's why I'm kind of neutral, because we very well could get that bounce up into those levels. I mean, and before maybe it continues to turn over. Like we get the bounce, we suck some longs in, and then this thing starts to continue down. Obviously, for the upside, we know the levels we got to break on the higher time frames here. We tried to break out. Here's that trend line we talked about. There's the breakout and the fail. And we have level. We know where it needs to get to start breaking through. So all the levels are here. I would be keying off all these levels I just laid out for you. So that's about all I got for oil. But like I said, we got headline risk. Could be very aggressive and can push these markets around, and quite honestly could totally disrupt some technical analysis, right? So we just have to be very conscious of that while we're trading during the trading day. And again, make sure your stops are in. Make sure you're protected in that way, because you just don't want to get a catastrophic blowout, especially if you're trading your real cash. So anyways, that's all I got for today. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'm kind of running my channel and doing some things a little bit differently because I got different stuff kind of in the works. So give it a like. I'll be posting my website here soon as well, and doing some stuff. So if you like what you're seeing, give it a thumbs up. And I'll have some contact information here down the road. Probably in a couple, I'll probably be doing these every Sunday, Saturday or Sunday moving forward here on oil, and maybe my take on the other markets as well, because I do trade ES. I don't trade NQ anymore, but I do trade ES. So leave a comment, so on and so forth. This is a unlisted video, so I have to actually post the link for it for people to see it. So anyways, take care. See you on the next one.